This is Billy with Silver Seas Yachts in Seattle, Washington. Today we're going to demonstrate Volvo's IPS system aboard this beautiful 42 Cantius by Cruisers Yachts. Now you may or may not be familiar with Volvo IPS, but that is their pod drive system. And while pod drives are not a new technology, these latest generation ones have some great features which I'm going to walk you through. You know, one of the big hesitancies I get from boaters who are in a 20 or 30 class thinking about moving up to a boat like this in a 40 class or larger is they're intimidated by the size, by the fact that you can be standing here as I am over 6 feet and still be looking quite a ways up at this boat. But we're going to talk about why you really don't need to be afraid. And I'm going to take this boat out today single-handed and show you what that's like. Now there are some key components to Volvo IPS. And first between us is of course going to be the diesel power plant. This particular one is a D6, which means it's a diesel common rail 6-cylinder engine, and it's an IPS 500 model. That makes it rated at 380 horsepower. However, with the dual prop outdrives on the pod system, the boat performs equivalent to direct drive with approximately 500 horsepower, hence the name IPS 500. Here is your pod drive transmission above the water, and you can see that the pod itself goes straight out the bottom of the boat, not out the transom. And both of these units are capable of articulating independently of each other with the computerized control systems, which we'll go over. Here we are now at the helm of the 42 Cantius, and here you'll find some things you're probably familiar with: your dual throttle binnacle and your joystick control. So again, joysticks also not new to boating. However, this has some very interesting features that we'll talk about as we get out on the water on this beauty. And one of those is the misconception that this right here is just for docking. You've got some other very interesting buttons right here on the joystick. Of course, you do have your docking mode and your high thrust mode for docking. You also have your joystick driving, which we'll talk about on the water, and this DPS, digital position holding button. That DPS button is going to activate this GPS antenna up here on the hardtop. It's going to lock in your position using those drives independently to keep you in place. So that's enough chit chat for right now. Let's get this beauty started and get off the dock. All right, so just like that, push button start, we are running. Now in my attempt to show you single-handling the boat here, we will fire up the generator, get switched off shore power, and put the cord away. I'm going to show you how easy it is to retrieve this 50 amp shore power cable with our Glendenning remote shore power cable system. And now we're hitting the remote. I'm going to start bringing her in. And it's that easy. So now that we're started, we're going to get ready to get off the dock. First thing I'm going to do is press my docking mode button and just verify real quick that I have command of the vessel. Finish cleaning these lines up once we get off the dock. Here we go. First, I'm going to put the joystick sideways to move us off the dock. So you do have 3 axes of control. You got 4 aft side to side and twist. You can do all of those simultaneously. Again, this really just makes docking a total breeze. And then if you like, switch off docking, grab your binnacles, put them in forward. Now, you do have a steering wheel, of course, as you'd expect. However, as we'll see when we get going here, you really almost don't need it. Next thing we're going to do here at a relative standstill is activate our dynamic positioning system. So now that GPS antenna up on the roof has taken control of the boat, and we can get out there, clean up those lines and fenders, and the boat's going to stay right here. How cool is that? So lest you think that the boat isn't doing anything, you can see the thrust coming out here even on this pretty calm day on Lake Union. And as you can see, we have not moved basically an inch. Well, I took care of all that. So anyway, we're here on Lake Union. We got about a 30-minute putt in front of us to get out to Lake Washington to put this thing through the rest of its paces with you. So now we're out in the middle of the lake, getting ready to take a turn out the canal towards the Lake Washington. So as I say, of course, it's a boat. You've got a steering wheel here. You've got our throttles engaged. As you can see, the boat will turn. Or you can engage the joystick driving button right here, the top right of the joystick. And now that essentially activates an autopilot of sorts, but it's also interactive here. So not only are you holding position, but you can drive the boat completely with the joystick here. So we can do course adjustments by twisting the stick. Or you can actually lay the stick over for a more rapid adjustment. Pretty cool stuff. Then as soon as you let go, you're holding course again. We're now here in Lake Washington, got all modes deactivated. We're gonna walk her up on plane, see what this baby handles like. Okay, I put it into single lever mode so I can control both engines with one stick. Up on plane here, 3,000 RPMs, 25 miles an hour. Very comfortably. I pop it back in the joystick driving. So again, we're now basically on autopilot. And we can change course with a twist. Now, one of the great things about this system for being out on the water on Puget Sound and spotting logs, which we don't have to really worry about here in the lake, you have your joystick dodge feature. So watch how quick she'll react when I lay the stick over. Pretty awesome stuff. So that was a look at how the joystick driving features work aboard this Cantius 42 with Volvo IPS. Now we'll head back to the dock, put her back in the slip. Back out here on Lake Union in DPS, and we got all our lines and fenders placed. Using joystick docking. What's great about this is you can turn around, still And just like that, we're back to the dock, single hand. This has been Billy with Silver Seas Yachts. Thanks for coming along today with me on this Volvo IPS demo. I hope you learned something, and I sure enjoyed taking you along. If you have any questions about this boat or the system, get in touch. Thanks.